Hello and welcome to Plate Stack Chat. If it's your first time here, my name is Jason, and on this show, I like to bring on some interesting people for a fun and relaxed chat around the virtual plate stack. And we are very kindly supported by the wonderful people at Strivey. If you are looking to share your programming with people and want an app that can deliver that in a great way, then head on over to strivey.app and see what they have to offer. On the show today, we have not one, but two first-time guests joining me from Blueprint, CrossFit, and AOD. First up is a man that finished the Open last year, 514th worldwide, 22nd in the UK, and yet third at Blueprint. So that just gives you an indication of the caliber of athlete that they are creating over there. He was also part of the Blueprint team that went to the CrossFit Games, finishing 11th overall. It's athlete and coach Harry Kean. Harry, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, it's good to be on. I feel like I should have done some kind of walking as I got introduced in. But
exactly, and then we shake hands, and I point to the sofa. You go and sit there. You pick up your drink. That's the vibe that I'm going for. Were those stats correct? First of all.
Yeah. No, I think the stats are probably about right. The only ones I really count is the ones right towards the end of the season. But it all sounded about in the right place.
Okay, in about close enough. Then that's what they always say. that's what they say about CrossFit, right? Close enough. Of course, how could we possibly talk about Blueprint or AOD without the man pulling the strings behind the scenes, using science and research to help make some ridiculously good athletes? He is a CrossFit level 3 and the owner of AOD and Blueprint Training. It is Adam Roff.
Hey, nice. Yeah, you know, I was really worried then you were going to pull up my open stats when I was saying a bit. I was like, oh, let's not go there. Don't have to worry about that. Yeah, not the one.
I'm going to be honest with you, Adam. I did look them up.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair. They've gone steadily. You know how everyone knows CrossFit. They're like, oh, you know, year on year to slowly see that climb. I think mine has just steadily been on the decline as we've gone through the years. Maybe occasional bump here or there.
I'm right there with you. I've been like really ill the last 2 years, just leading up to the Open. I got like ill in different ways, and had a terrible Open. This year, I think that maybe the week before the Open kicks off or 2 weeks before, I'm doing the What Active competition. So it's like the first time in years I'm actually getting fitter going into the Open. Will that help me? Probably not, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, people are getting fitter, right? Like, it's getting harder to even just holding on to your ranking at the minute. It's probably a hard task still, right?
We last year did quite fun for, I think it was the last week of the Open. We did like a little showdown, me and Joe Pearson, who's our general manager at Blueprint, as like a coach for the last week. Yeah. It went terribly. I say terribly. It was amazing for everyone else to watch.
Great entertainment.
Good entertainment, but not the kind of, you know, athletic prowess that you used to see in the gym. So it was good fun.
Yeah. Well, I just found it fascinating. I mean, and I know why, because I know the other athletes that are at Blueprint. But if you see, you know, if you pull up someone's ranking and they're like 22nd in the UK, it's very strange to not have that also be number 1 in their gym, right? Like that's already you know we're diluting the pool very quickly there, and to have. And I was like, Harry's third. Who? And then beaten by his own teammate, first of all. I mean, that's...
Yeah, that stings, yeah.
Yeah. And then his namesake, Harry, as well. So there we go. But, you know, here, another question for you. What is it about 11th at the Games? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Harry Lightfoot took 11th as an individual. Yeah. And you guys took 11th as a team. So is there some CrossFit conspiracy?
Weird that. I think both parties were relatively happy with the outcome. We actually went in with quite a clear goal of it being a top 10 finish, because I haven't done a research deep dive, but I think that JST probably came 10th as their highest finish. And that was like the highest UK affiliate team finish. I'm not sure when it was, maybe like 2018 or something. So we wanted to beat that, right? And kind of hold that precedent. But I'm not sure. What was interesting across the weekend was like we finished our first day a little bit beaten up, a little bit downtrodden, you know, like tail between our legs. He's had a soaring first day. He comes in, he's like giving it all the chat, like this, that, and the other. Like him and Mikey, because Mike coaches him, are like having a great time. And I just go to him, I go, just you wait, mate. Like there's going to be a day that you come in and you're in our position, and we're going to come in, we're flying high. Anyway, the next day, the roles basically reversed. And I'm at home already, like waiting for him, whatever. And he just comes in and he's just quiet like this. Like Mike goes straight to his room and I'm just going, well, look who's here. But I think, it's the peaks and troughs, right? But that's why the group's good. Like we all stay together for the games and it's having a bit of fun with it rather than it being all doom and gloom, you know, when things aren't looking so great at a minute.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing about like how many, I was literally saying the same thing last week with Jennifer about the fact that, you know, now that you're at the game, there's more people from the UK like heading out. Like, so you're going to these big events and there's just a lot more people from the UK there, and how nice that is because you've got these moments like before and after where you can kind of chat with friends, people you know quite well, maybe people you train with. Like obviously in this situation, yeah, like, you know, you've had a bad day. He's kind of, you know, pulling your leg a bit about everything that's happened. But does that help you, like in those situations, to be able to kind of not spiral too deep because you've got somebody there
I think that's like it's a really good thing about the environment that we're in is as soon as, because for the athlete, if something doesn't go well, it can literally seem like it's the end of the world. And obviously that people are going to take things in different ways. But for us, it's almost like if something doesn't go well, like there's never too soon. Like people are almost getting stuck into you straight away about it. And it helps you kind of, because it's a laugh and a joke, it almost kind of helps you just kind of pack that away and then just focus on the next task. Some people might not do so well under that, but I think with the athletes that we're working with, it helps kind of put a bit of a softer edge when things maybe haven't gone as well. And then kind of move on, get on to the next task, because there is always the next thing to do, you know?
Yeah, I think in the lead up to actual events and around just before the competition, everyone knows when to be very serious and when to keep it very intense. And then it's like, right, event's gone, you can't do anything about it. And it's like, yeah, just try and remember why you're there, right? Having fun about the experience.
Yeah, no one's getting stuck into you pre-event. I don't think that would be great for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I found being at events and like on the competition floor, not competing on the competition floor, don't get me wrong, but just like trying to grab interviews, trying to talk to athletes, is that like, oh, is now a good time? Like maybe now's not a good time, and you just have to leave people for, you know, and particularly, yeah, just as they're getting ready to go, it's like the worst time to ask a question.
Yeah, I think it's knowing the athletes as well. And the longer you work with people and longer you work, like you just know when it's like, okay, that person just needs 5 minutes if they've had a bad finish, and then start giving them shit or talking to them. Or it's like, well, you can just, have to be very comfortable talking to them. And the same pre-event, like Harry Lightfoot, that is very good at, he's in there, his headphones in, he's not talking to anyone during that. Like he's very just like closed off, and that would be his little like one-word answers to questions because he's got his routine dialed in. But other Harry in the team, generally you can have much more of an open conversation as stuff goes. And it's just getting to know people a little bit more on that, right? So when you're trying to interview 20 odd people, it's hard to be able to do that, right?
No, what's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now I know Harry. Now I know I can talk.
Yeah,
to
you
Harry
can just give him shit all the time. Please do.
And ignore the other Harry. So that's that's made life easy for me. I mean, let's talk about like Blueprint and AOD. Like, you know, it's hard to kind of talk about one without the other. I suppose they're very linked. Although I think I see more AOD t-shirts in the wild. Let's say when I'm at events. But having never been to Blueprint, I can close my eyes and like picture what the gym looks like because I've seen so many posts of people there. I can see like the big blue, like kind of BP logo there. And so what's going on with like, how has Blueprint just like kind of blown up and become what it is? And, you know, having that many, you know, we're talking about finishes in the Open, but also getting a team to the games is like a huge thing as well. You've got a number of athletes that have got, you know, pretty good CVs with regards to competitions and events and things like that. How did this all like come about?
To be honest, it's never been a thing that we've pushed necessarily. I think there's maybe a little bit of history of training platforms, excuse me, like trying to put these elite training camps together. And I think that the mix of personalities when you're just putting good athletes in the same place isn't necessarily the best idea because it probably could get a bit cagey or people fall out or whatever. And I think for us, it's been a little bit of a conveyor belt. Like the team's obviously based out of there. Harry decided to commit to move up to be more full-time with his coach. Obviously we can't really speak for Amy because we don't coach or kind of manage her, but similar kind of situation with her. And there's been a number of other people that are good athletes or good for the environment who have kind of come and gone a little bit. And there's some that leave being like, oh, I can't believe I'm leaving. Like, this is such a great place to be. And there's other people that probably just didn't quite gel or mesh the way that others do. So I think it's more that we never push people to be there. And for the people that want to be there, it works really, really well.
Yeah, when we started, we were kind of, it used to be Bullpen Fitness back in the day. So it's been I think a 12-year affiliate now before we moved and actually officially made it Blueprint, which was in like COVID time. We never had the intention, like Harry said, of being like, oh, we're going to create this awesome space. We love coaching an affiliate. Like that's what we did. And we always wanted to have an affiliate. And then we just did AOD on the side. And, our focus was to keep growing AOD online. And the fact that it managed to, kind of combine a little bit in this way has been so good. And it's awesome because we have such a strong member base there. And the members get behind everyone so well too, which is what's great about it. Because I think sometimes, first and foremost, it is an affiliate, and we do put the affiliate first and the members first. So even if, people are in there training, Harry's training, the team are training, it's like, well, class needs erg, so they're doing that. So it's good to still at its heart, it's still an affiliate, and all the athletes there just kind of like build on that, which is really, really nice to have that like whole community.
How does that affect the, like, as I say, people like me that go, so I've been in CrossFit maybe 10 years. I've maybe done open gym twice in 10 years. The rest of the time it's class, right? I just go, what's on the whiteboard? That's what we're going to do. Tell me what to do, coach. Warm me up, cool me down, give me the stretches, like, just follow that. So somebody like that, what is the impact of being at Blueprint and then having, over there, these, elite level athletes? Does that kind of motivate them, spur them on? Or, I mean, on the other side, is it like intimidating for people? And they're like, oh no, I can't, I can't do what they're doing.
I think from like my perception, and I've actually not spent loads of time in any other affiliates, but I think that, like you said, like I was third in the gym despite my UK placing or whatever, right? It's that because the level's so high, it keeps, I think, everyone for the most part quite grounded. So you don't get people with super like swollen egos because they think they're the best or this, that, and the other. Like everyone in that gym, whether it's within classes or the people that are competing, there's someone that's better than them at something. And I think from like a class standpoint, you don't get these people that are walking around like with their chest puffed up, because there's literally every person along the rung of development and like getting better at CrossFit, that I think it creates quite a healthy environment for everyone, because no one's kind of getting carried away or delusional about like how good they are, and they just focus on their training and getting better,
Yeah, I think when we still do get that, like, oh, I saw the gym on Instagram sort of thing, and it looked like insane, like all these really good people. So when members come in, but then I think people quickly realize that, everyone is so friendly and so nice. Like you can talk to anyone in the gym. There is, like Harry said, none of that ego there. And then when it starts to get into the season, it's really fun, because like on our open Friday night lights, we often have call it like elite heats, where we have all the team and Harry and Amy do the open, and everyone, members come in and they watch, and it is that like they're really like motivated and hyped by it, and they love it. So it only has been a good thing and good positive thing for us to have.
Well, I mean, the open is coming up, and so that's always like a great opportunity to kind of, so it was funny. I was interviewing somebody at CrossFit Bath for like the local podcast. Local, yeah, makes sense. And we were talking about the open coming up, and he was like, oh, it's so great because it's the only time you get to be on the, like, doing the same workouts and kind of being on the same leaderboard as these like incredible athletes, which is something, we've always said for years and years. But I was saying, well, who do you mean? Like, which athletes are you thinking of? And he's thinking of the coaches at CrossFit Bath, because he's like, they're very good athletes. I remember, years ago it being like, because, it's the only time I'm going to be on the same leaderboard as as Rich Froning, and then it's the only time I'm going to be on the same leaderboard as Matt Fraser. But it's interesting at Blueprint because it's probably the same thing for your members, right? It's like, oh, it's the only time I'm going to be doing the same workout as Harry, but also I can see him do it, and I can sort of see, okay, this is, because it's always nice, like during the Open, isn't it? You do a workout, you finish it. You're like, wow, I finished that workout just like I just scraped in under the time cap. And then you look at the elites and you're like, oh, wow, like that's how fast someone can do it. But it's another thing to then see that in real time. Be like, okay, I finished it, but he was sat there for 5 minutes just watching me finish it.
He's done some really, like him, for example, as well. Last year, I think it was the last workout with the 3 rounds, like the bar muscle ups or thrusters or whatever it was, something like that workout. He did that workout in front of everyone, and that was one of the Open workouts where people were watching him and people were just like, I can't believe how he's just done that workout, like how fast it's gone. It's literally everyone's like, that is insane. And it is really good. And you're right. I think people do love that. I think, it's quite funny because even like today on Wednesdays, there's like a group of like 8 or 9 of us who are like our athletes on site, and then me and a couple of people jump in with like a Wednesday morning interval session. And it's quite funny because we always finish when our 9:30 like class is just about to start. So they're always like sat on the bikes or like at the whiteboard warming up when everyone's just dead on the floor. And I think it's quite fun to see that, like they love it because they just see people that like actually, the coaches and them just being floored. And I think it's really good to, they do really love it.
Yeah. I think it's nice as well because it shows, it's a good expression of CrossFit, like across all its kind of nuances, and it's all about intensity. It's about like picking that, and you can do a workout that leaves you dead on the floor that is very different to this athlete, but at the end of the day, the results are the same. You're both in a puddle on the floor. It's just scaling appropriately. It's kind of attacking it with the right intensity. But it's nice to get to, in one place, kind of witness that across a broader spectrum. And then also have something to strive for. Like, one day I can finish that workout as fast as Harry. Nah, it's not gonna happen. But
what's things I can even go anywhere near by Harry on. So it's
well, I feel that way as well, and I actually train competitively. So.
Well, how do you balance that? Because obviously you're a coach as well. You're competing at you've gone to the games, which is the highest level of for a team. That's the goal, right? But that takes a lot of work and dedication to get there. It takes a lot of work to help these other athletes as well. How do you kind of find that right balance between putting obviously yourself first when needed, but also then having to put other people ahead of you at times?
I think obviously in terms of like working with the athletes themselves, it's setting like boundaries and very clear expectations of things. So then it doesn't kind of blur the lines or make things over like complicated at certain times of the year. So it's almost like this is because I try to separate the two completely, even though they're very kind of intertwined. It's like I have my job, and my job is a completely separate entity. Excuse me, sorry. Completely separate entity to what I do with my training. So like the fact I am an athlete, and obviously I have to spend a lot of my time doing that. Pretty much any recreational time you could imagine is like done training. It's like I'm going to do my job to the fullest of my potential and ability, and then I obviously train. It has to come second, right? Like any athlete that's not a full-time athlete, if they're interested in having any kind of longevity in their sport, they need to prioritize their work, because if that's not going well, or there's additional stress there or whatever, it's going to have so much spillover onto your training as well, and your performance. So I think really for me, it's trying to be very, very clear in terms of like, this is what we're going to do. Like, this is obviously my job. And then also with the training itself, it's just trying to manage things so that it just works well for my circumstances. So whether that's training at certain times or certain training sessions or in certain places, like I have some equipment at home as well, so that I'm not spending every like living hour in the gym. And that's kind of it, really. It's just having structure to it. It does get more difficult as time goes on, because kind of the more you progress, the more training you need in order to continue to progress. But that's where kind of being smart about it comes in, really.
being smart. That's the problem. That's my problem. I'm not smart. There you go. I had another question for them, because obviously, like Adam, you were saying that you didn't set out to kind of make Blueprint like this, like home of elite athletes that are going to the games. It was just you wanted to run an affiliate. AOD was kind of an online thing initially that was just giving people that I guess competitive training or help that they need if they do want to take it to another level, even if that's local comp level or I don't know, European comp level, whatever it may be. But now you find yourself in this situation where, actually, we've got a lot of really good athletes. Actually, we're able to get a team to the games. We've got, individuals going to the games coming out of our affiliate or, tied to our affiliate. How does that now change like the trajectory of Blueprint AOD and like how you plan things going ahead?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we only want the affiliate, again, we kind of want the affiliate to grow as, an affiliate would. We're not trying to be like, oh, we need to have more space for these elites or trying to get people down to do that. Like, our goal with the affiliate still is we want to be able to serve more people and serve more members. We use the affiliate greatly for like having AOD training days and having people to come compete. And obviously like quarterfinals, online semifinals are great opportunities to really get people in one place. But yeah, we've never really talked about, having like an AOD space. Like, I think we're really happy with the affiliate that we have. And I think the good thing about AOD is we continue to grow. Like, we've had last year, I think we say this every year, basically, like our best year in terms of growth, in terms of new clients, in terms of how people do at competitions, and it only gets better. And hopefully that trajectory continues. But as we kind of continue to grow, hopefully it just means even more international, clients and more international people we coach. So yeah, I don't think we'd ever want to be like, oh, we need this big hub for AOD, because I think, like Harry said before, there's probably a bit too much of a good thing if you get too many good athletes in one space and turn it into two, like people can start to butt heads. So I think trying to keep the two separate as much as we can, and then just continue to grow them each individually, really is going to be our goal. And hopefully this year we can just do the same. The team,
into the chat.
Extra guest. Hopefully this year we can have the team go to the games again. That's the plan. Harry and Amy. We've got a few guys around Europe that are going to be trying to gun for some game spots as well. So it'll be a really, hopefully, big year to get back there. It's just our goal. And each year we kind of set some targets to be like, well, can we again? What metrics of success does it look like to us in terms of clients we have, where people get to, and all that stuff? So fingers crossed, just another big year for both, really.
Yeah, and I think with on what you're saying, kind of like balancing the two, like athletes training and then the affiliate, like. When we first started, we've always kind of prioritized keeping things so that people have availability to train. And it's, I think it's more so a bias. It's where like we've come from ourselves, and kind of, I guess, a little bit what the gym was like before we became part of it, is that I think most people should be in classes, but then also you don't want to restrict the ability for them to explore their own training and do things outside of that. And we're open like all day, so people can effectively be in the gym all day. And that's always been quite a big thing for us. Whereas some CrossFit gyms, right, there'll be the morning classes, coach will close up, people leave, like come back, whatever. We want to keep the space very open, because obviously it's great for the elite athletes, but also having people do a little bit of extra stuff in open gym and explore their own training and doing those things is something that's always been quite important to us, because that's kind of where we've come from in terms of finding the passion and love for just training in general, is just having time to do it. So I think at the minute the balance is perfect. If we doubled our members, I don't know, it'd be a little bit harder to negotiate, but that's a good problem to deal with when we get there,
Yeah, definitely. When you're like, oh, we've got too many people. I mean, I remember like when they had to CrossFit Bath and they were having to like cap membership, cap classes and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's annoying when you can't get in a class, but that's a great problem to have. And of course you want to also, you expand too much and you don't have sufficient coaching or coaches. If your class gets too big that you're not giving people attention, then you're kind of diluting the product again. And so it's striking that balance, right? Interesting. So With regards to AOD, like the online stuff, then you're saying you've got some more, kind of European athletes, different ones getting involved. What, like for somebody who's like, okay, I've never heard of AOD. What is it? Like, pitch it to me. Like, what would I get from saying like, oh, I want to, I'm going to look into AOD, sign up with these guys. Like, what's the difference between that or me just being like, oh, I'll just go and, get some programming from like HWPO or the Mayhem one and just kind of grab whatever they're doing as their like competitive track or something like that?
Yeah, I guess really like in terms of who we kind of provide to, like who we're kind of trying to provide a service to, it's anyone who wants to progress themselves in their training, but also like competition is at the core of what we do as well. And that's more so because it is a measure of progress. Like, it's hard to measure progress like always within the walls of a gym. So that's one thing we push people to do. But really, yeah, we're just looking to provide the most efficacious kind of product that we can. So comparing that to a generic program or just whatever, like something else, I think the approach we always try and take is, how can we improve people at the quickest rate? How can we improve them for like the least amount of work as well? So then it's as effective as possible. And I think really in terms of our values, that's kind of it. It doesn't matter where you're at in terms of your journey. It's more that you're very willing to improve and obviously trust us, and we're going to try and do that in the most effective way, really.
Yeah, and we've always wanted to do that really based on like a very like one-to-one approach, and be like, we're coaching you not just, oh, here's a template program, here's a random squat cycle, here's X, Y, and Z. We're very much everyone we coach, regardless of level, regardless of where they come on, especially if they come on to like our bespoke coaching with one of us. It's like, what are your goals? What does that mean to you? What does your life look like? And they're very much tailoring everything around that person. It's not just that, oh, here, we're going to put you on this 12-week kind of like program. It just allows us to really, like Harry said, be as efficacious as possible with each person. That might look so different to someone who can only train 4 times a week or train 12 times a week doing triple day sort of thing. And we really do kind of cater to everyone and open our books to people who just want, like Harry said, just want to get better and want to improve. And if you've got competition in the book, that's great for us to be able to say, well, here's you tracking progress, right? Whether that's games, whether that's Arnold Fitness Games, whether that's a local comp at your sort of gym. And it's just about us making sure, when you come on board with AOD, it's part of a bigger team, not just like another number. It's like you're growing, because we've not got like HWPO numbers or anything like that. We're very much like a small UK base, and we don't, want to take over the world. We very much want to keep our core science-backed programming that is going to get you better with a coach who's there kind of with you the whole way through.
Yeah. Do you find it challenging to stick to those kind of principles or those ideas? Because you look at the fitness industry as a whole, and it's a lot of kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say like pyramid schemes, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of kind of, oh, we can do this, and actually financially speaking, this will be a good move for us. And it's, and people are kind of making compromises at times because, that will benefit me now immediately for this. Whereas you're like, well, no, I know we could do this or we could do that, but we kind of, it's harder to stay small sometimes, right? Like, everyone just thinks, oh, bigger is better, more numbers, more people, more subscriptions, more money. Is that a bit of a fight at all to be like, no, we've got to stick to our, we've got, this is our baby. We want to kind of keep it pure and what it.
I think it's kind of, like you said though, like it is a little bit against the grain that's our values. So it's almost kind of easier to stay that way, because we're always looking to do things differently and achieve better results in a different way to someone else. So it's not cookie cutter, and it kind of separates us from the rest in a sense. And I think for me, Mike, and Ads being the owners, I guess we're kind of like, we're in this for the passion and we obviously enjoy it, but we're also like, if we do this the right way, it's going to pay serious dividends for us in the long run, because we've built it on top of like values and trying to do things properly. And I would say that it, like anyone who starts their own business knows that things often move a lot slower than you might have anticipated. But the more years that we just bank doing this, the more it kind of really rewards you for sticking to what you wanted to do, providing what you wanted to provide. So the longer we do it, the easier it is to kind of hold true to those, I think.
Yeah, and as we've grown, we've only tried to ever add value to what we offer, not kind of go the other way in a sense. Like you say, it'd be very easy to say, oh, I'm going to take on an extra 30 clients if I just template people's programs and send it off that way and X, Y, and Z. But then I think it like Harry said, it doesn't stick true to what we actually want to do. And it then diminishes the service that we offer to people. And then they're not going to improve as much as they could if they're working one-to-one with someone. So we don't, we have other coaches that work for us, and it's the same with them. When we bring people on, it's like we're not just doing it so they can go and take more clients and give them a bad product. It's like we're bringing on coaches that we believe can really hold true to our values, and we teach them those, and we go through this like quite rigorous process before they start taking clients, because we only want our reputation to be like we hold true to what we say and to everyone we coach, not just to the best.
Yeah. Do you find that hard? Are you quite because obviously it's, you know, it's your name at the end of the day, right? So when people are looking, so if I, you know, do a quick Google and I look up Blueprint, or I look up AOD, it's you guys that are going to show up, right? Like that's so if you're having to take someone on as a coach, you know, like, and I've got to make sure that kind of everything they're doing is now a reflection on me. Is that stressful for you to be like, oh, you know, I really hope they don't mess this up?
It is, but I mean, as we know exactly what I'm talking about without getting into too much detail, but it's like we spent a lot of time kind of working on this, and we really do just try to get it right. And like I said, if you get the standards and you get how you want people to operate and you spend the time developing that, in the long term, it will be a lot easier to find the right people that should be working with you, and also for them to be working in an effective way. Like, I think we invested time into having coaches because we wanted to expand. We didn't want to overwhelm ourselves with a lot of clients and let the quality drop. But then at the same time, it was such an overwhelming thing to do, because we're like, how are we going to kind of guarantee that we're kind of carrying over exactly what we do with the other coaches as well? And really, it's just spending a lot of time together, trying to speak to the coaches a lot and just working through all those things. And hopefully one day our coaches will be developed enough that they can then work on future coaches as well. Like that's kind of the goal, but it seems a far way off just because of how much work that goes into it that doesn't necessarily pay you back right away.
Yeah, it was the same when we started bringing coaches on. We were like, all these people that we're bringing into the business to work for us, we currently have 3 coaches that work for us. We see them as like long-term, not just a short-term solution to bring someone on who can take some clients and then they're going to disappear, right? It's like these people we want to develop with us and grow with us and really be with our brand values. And again, I think you see that a lot of the time with other coaching companies, other people out there. They just bring on X, Y, and Z athletes or whatever just to coach for them, just because of a name or because they want capacity, instead of actually having someone who is just as detail orientated and the same, you know, service as them. So yeah, it has taken a while, but I feel like quietly confident to say we're there now with the coaches, like to bring people on in the future as well and continue to grow, that we've kind of got it nailed in that as well.
Yeah. I mean, you've said something there that I need to ask a question about now. Just in your opinion, because someone is a very good athlete, does that mean they will be a good coach?
No.
Not necessarily. Yeah, not necessarily at all. I think short answer, yeah, Harry's short answer. No, it doesn't mean they definitely could be a good coach. They could be a great coach, I'm sure. But just because you're an athlete, no, that's obviously. I think, yeah, that's definitely not.
Yeah. I think there's
been there and done it.
I think there's a part to it is that the experiences of being an athlete can really enhance a person's ability to coach, but someone being an athlete doesn't give them the ability to coach in the first place. And I think there's certain characteristics, and obviously every coach will have their strengths and weaknesses in different areas. But if someone doesn't have some serious strengths in some of those areas that it takes to be a good coach, like they could still be a good athlete, you know, but there's a big gap to close, I think.
Yeah. I just always find it funny when it's sort of, you know, there are some like games athletes that are incredible coaches and like have put a lot of their time and energy leading up to, you know, being coaches, and that's sort of how they got into it. But then you get people that have just, you know, are very fit, are very capable, and then it'll be like, oh, they're putting on a seminar, and you're like, okay, that's that's an interesting choice. I always look at it as like a language kind of thing. So like, just because you can speak English doesn't mean you can teach someone how to speak English. But obviously being able to speak English makes it a lot easier to develop the skills to be able to teach English. Like that's great.
I think it's probably hard for those athletes, right? Because they probably see it as quite a easy way to make some money, because they have a big Instagram following. They have people probably asking them to program all the time, because a name and an Instagram does inflate and make people think that they're going to get something from them, or they're going to be a great coach. And I think then it's probably hard for them to be like, oh, well, it seems like a natural progression, right, to go into coaching just because I've stopped competing or I'm wild competing. But yeah.
Interesting. It was just a mild tangent. Just what you know, you said something there. I'm like, okay. We talked a lot about the success Blueprint has had, AOD has had, you've had as individuals yourselves. But hey, guys, we're in January of 2026, so games is in the past, my friend. you can't keep hanging on to that 11th place finish. That's over now.
Yeah, the leaderboard's at 0. So
yeah. So what are we doing this year? What's happening with Blueprint? What's happening with AOD? What names should I be looking for? You know, is there any, you know,
I guess
it's not on my radar that absolutely should be on my radar? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I guess this is a little bit of a formal. I guess this is a formal. Sorry, I'm just letting the cat get down from the table. There you go. This is a formal us talking about this, because there's been obviously conversations going back and forth. But I think from the team standpoint, it was such a big run up for us to qualify this year. We had a few years where we had injuries that kind of kept us out. Then we had a year where we just weren't good enough. It was a very kind of narrow miss. And the more time we poured into it, it was like, when we finally qualify, is that it? So we qualified this year. We did the competition. It was a great experience. And then it was kind of like, what happens now? Because I hadn't, like, nothing had been preconceived or thought beyond that, you know. Anyway, OJ, who was on the team this year, he took a little bit of time off doing CrossFit specifically, preparing for some High Rocks races, stuff like that, just because I think his body was a little bit beat up. And then we brought a new guy in to do WFP for us, Joe Hurley. And even before WFP, we were kind of like, let's just go and do this a little bit more relaxed and just kind of see what the experience says, and if we think the team's like got legs and all of that kind of stuff. And then now, after having conversations with all the parties involved and different people and just thinking about it a little bit, I think we are going to go for it again this year. Things do look a little bit different in terms of qualifying structures, so still kind of figuring that out. But I think with Joe, we've got the right personnel. Obviously, the girls, that they've kind of proven themselves time and time again. And yeah, I think if we're going to do it again, for me, it's really to try and qualify for the games again and get into a top 10 spot, hopefully.
Okay. Oh, exciting.
Yeah, that's the goal of the team. So we'll be doing that again out of Blueprint again, and hopefully that's all going to go well. And I think from an indie standpoint, obviously at Blueprint, Harry and Amy are going to be pushing for, I know both of them want to get back to the games and just improve on their last year's finishes. Can't speak for Harry, but I think he would definitely say wants to get that top 10 at the games for sure. And Amy, with how she's obviously done at WFP, I'm sure even higher probably this year. So that'll be really exciting to kind of see. And then, we've got a number of like guys and girls around who just from around the UK and a few European guys as well who are going to be at semi-finals. And then, one or two who could be pushing higher, kind of wait and see. Mike just started coaching Moritz as well. So obviously he wants to try and make it back to the games this year too. So that'll be really exciting to have that as another AOD athlete at the games. So it's going to be hopefully a big year.
Yeah. Okay. That's I didn't know that last little fact there. So that's quite interesting. Yeah. So
is there any information or nuggets or potentially sensitive questions that you want to ask?
Me?
Because
No,
I don't mind getting into that shit.
What about specifically on that?
Yeah,
on
just
that point?
just like certain things. I don't know. Any burning questions?
Well, no, because I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
Now I'm generating questions. So when did he jump across? How new
It would have been October time, I think, last year in October.
Okay, because he was with the program right before that.
Yeah, I think he was
yeah.
getting coached by John Singleton. I think he'd probably been with him for quite a few years actually.
Yeah, because that's why I'd seen a lot of stuff there between them. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, that's it never really happens around here, right? Like it happens over in the US all the time that you're like, oh, so and so's jumped from Mayhem to HWP. I've gone to, I was gonna say Underdog, but that's gone now. So like, you know what I mean? Like you hear of people moving around. I feel like it's less often that I'm speaking to people and it's happening.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I think at the very high level, oftentimes you don't obviously know what goes on behind the scenes around all those things, but whether there's like, actual contracts involved or whatever around those like big programs. But for us, what's really good about going to high level competitions, going to the games, going to semi-finals, French, is you just really get to meet and know people and understand. And then the more you kind of develop those relationships, the more people then start to buy in. And that kind of at the root of what we do is exactly that, right? We're not going around trying to poach people or anything like that. It's a case of people approach us because we get to know them and they like what we're about. And then, it just kind of, grows from there, really.
I think it's with the kind of top level athletes, it's you're not like trying to poach or like coerce them into working with you because most of them are spoken for. But the more competitions we're at and the more intros we get is kind of just trying to create people's awareness that if we're offering something better or something that might work better for them, obviously the option's there. And I think our mission it's probably in like 2020, like the mission that we set for the business was to have competitors at the highest level of the sport, so that be the CrossFit Games. It seemed like a million miles away at the time, but it's all starting to come together a little bit in that sense. And I think the more traction we just kind of build, the more people we speak to, like it's going to be great, because I really firmly believe that the methods we're using, our values, all of those kind of things can help athletes massively. And without naming names, I know that there's a lot of very, very good athletes that are working with coaches and in camps that I don't think are operating on the same level that we are. Back in 2020, I wouldn't be saying that. Whereas like 6 years down the line, I'm like, now that I've kind of seen it, done it, like experience with like these top guys and speaking to them, all this kind of stuff, I'm like, the way that we're doing this shit is really good, and everyone should be doing it the way we do it,
Yeah, it's funny, like Harry said there, is you go to these competitions and it sometimes baffles me what you see people doing and how you see people approaching things when you talk to them. It just kind of makes you think that just because people are at a really high level, people assume that they've got these amazing coaches or these amazing setups, and it's a case of not tooting our own horn, but you just think, like Harry said, there is always better ways to do it when you actually understand. So yeah.
I love
Common
the
AOD, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great though, because I think, and also like, we've mentioned like right at the outset, right? People are different. They approach competitions a different way. You're going to have people that like need silence before they go on the field. You're going to have people that want to kind of be joking around. And it makes sense that you also would try different, like if you've been with someone for a while, or, it works for some people, it doesn't work for other people. Like there's adjustments. You've spoken about kind of how bespoke you try to make everything anyway. So theoretically, even if I'm like, well, what you're doing with Harry doesn't work for me, you'd be like, well, don't worry about what we do for Harry, because what we do for you is completely different. So I think that in and of itself, but like to me, I would think like that's sort of the bare minimum I would hope for, is that you would adjust.
You honestly, you'd be so surprised. Is the answer to that?
Like we have methods and ways that we do things that are kind of universal, but it's finding what works best for the athlete themselves. And I think so many of these platforms that are maybe built off the success of a small number of people, they're just recycling this stuff. I will say names now, like HWPO is basically just Matt Fraser's training. And then obviously there's the whole story of Jason Hopper going there, and he was just like, give me what you did. And it burnt him out and basically broke him. And it's like, yeah, you're not Matt Fraser, dude. Like, he obviously won the games this year, which is amazing, but he had to go about it a different way. And I think that's what we really strive to do. It's nothing's black and white, nothing's set in stone. It's always just trying to find what is going to be the best way to get results. So if that means you're training less than your competitors, but you perform better than them, then you do that, right? There's like loads of examples like this. It's all just trying to find the perfect blend for each person individually.
Yeah. Which, when you break it down to even like one movement, is exactly what you do as a CrossFit coach. It will be like, here's all the cues to do a snatch. They're not working for you. So I'm going to use different cues, because the cues that I used for this person that they got immediately, for some reason, just your brain doesn't work the same way. So instead of telling you to do this, I'm going to tell you to do that. The result is the same, but it's just a different approach, right? So you do it like
absolutely, yeah. And like, it's some people, like, everyone just moves totally different, right? And you've got to just find, if we're talking on a performance basis, it's like, what is going to get the performance, as opposed to, oh, the textbook says this, or like whatever says that. It's like, when you get to a certain level of experience in terms of coaching, you start to kind of, all the information and the literature and everything is good for your toolbox, but it's like, that is not the way to just do things. You need to find what is the best way to do something for an individual.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so tempted to say any other names you want to name at this point, but I will, I'll let
you.
Yeah. You can send me a list later.
Like, afterwards.
So I'm thinking, going back a little bit to, like, not poaching, but it's like, you don't want to poach, but you also want people to know what's available, right? So you're like, look, I'm not stealing your people, but I'm available if you want a change, we're here. Obviously, the more events you're at, the more kind of opportunities there are just for people to see, similar to the way you said, you'd be amazed what I see other coaches doing before a workout. Well, it's happening the same that people are observing you, right? So you can see like a bad example, and I guess you can see what you might consider to be a good example and be like, well, hold on, I quite like what they're doing. So the more events you're at, the more competitions you're at, the more athletes you've got kind of out in the wild, the more opportunities there are for people to be like, interesting, I might, have a little look and see what they've got over there. So when you've got people like, I don't want to talk about him because, I don't want to inflate his ego, but obviously you've got Harry, and you've talked about like the power of social media. When that guy gets interviewed, like his interviews at Rogue and stuff, is it good? Like, how good is it for you that you've got somebody that is quite, he's good on social media, like the stuff he does gets a lot of views, and obviously then that kind of filters back percentages to you guys. Like, is it a good gift having Harry?
Yeah, it's absolutely a good gift. I think especially for him, he's like AOD through and through, right? He started on our generic program from 7, 8 years ago, whatever it is, and he very much, like our coaches almost, has bought into what we do, and he has that buy-in, which is great. And anytime he's on interviews, it's awesome when he talks about AOD, because that's purely his belief as well in us. It's not like, again, you maybe other program companies, other people, maybe they don't pay for coaching and they have to promote their coaches, have to promote the program, or anything like that. That's never been the case with Harry. Like, Harry is like any other client with us. He pays for his coaching. He is just another client. And he truly believes in what we do as well. So when he talks about us and promotes about us, it's awesome. And he is, great on social media. So it's always nice to have that as well. Be someone who is truthfully like himself as well, right?
Yeah, I think Harry's like, he is a very good advocate for what we do. But at the same time, we're a little bit wary to not be like, look at Harry Lightfoot, like this, that, and the other. Like, he's not like the linchpin of what we do, because like, you never know what happens in life, right? Very easily he could have a change of heart, he wants to stop doing CrossFit, or he has a terrible injury, and then like, what are you left with then? So we don't really treat him like the golden boy per se, but what he does do for us is very, very good, and it does create us more exposure at a higher level. Because really, like, that when you kind of gain a lot of traction is when you take an athlete, and then it's kind of like the peers that they compete against. When they see that athlete suddenly made like quite a good jump up in performance, and they're like, "Oh shit! Where did that come from?" Those peers then it piques their interest, right? So the fact that he's competing at the games and he's kind of compounding this quite linear progress. I'm not really sure when it's going to end, but it's great, like how he's doing. His peers around him that maybe he's passed them on the leaderboard year to year, they've not had loads of movement, it starts to pique their interest. And the higher level we can do that, the higher level athletes we can have exposure to, because that's really how we started. Was like we had coaches go to competitions. Not a lot of people were doing that at the time. So people are like, oh, right, they've got coaches here, and like this person's come out of nowhere a little bit, and this, that, and the other. So then you start working with that group, and then as people develop, you gain that traction. So he's amazing in that sense, but we also try not to overdo it, because he's not the only string to our bow, right?
Yeah, but it is nice. You're right. Like when you can look back and see, you know, where they were before, and then because I'll name names in a minute because I know you like this. So like you can see an athlete's like progression and be like, okay, they joined AOD. And then they got better and better and better. Now they're a games athlete, like fantastic. Like I can track that back and be like, okay, that's how it happened. And then you've got like Proven that came about after Tia had already won the games a number of times. And then like at the end of the games, they would like rank the training camps and be like, oh, this training camp like had this many. And like Proven was like up there because obviously Tia, you know, is winning the games. And you're kind of like, yeah, but it's not that she joined Proven and then won the games. She was already winning, and then they cut sort of, you know, after the fact, we're like, okay, now we'll turn what we do. Same with HWPO, right? You've got like Matt Fraser's already established himself, and then retroactively you're like, oh, and this is what I was doing. But there's something, I don't know, nice about seeing the before and then being like, okay, you jumped on this program and now we can follow your progression through. And like, I'm sure that is what you were doing.
I think with those big platforms as well, like what's really interesting in like, if you were to sign up for it, have a look at it, is that because they're almost like molded off of that one athlete, there's a specific style to it that works very well for that athlete. But then our style is like not that. Our style is that it's adaptive and evolving, and it's like dynamic for the athlete itself. So it's like you couldn't literally look at a program. Like I'm pretty sure that if you lined up like Proven, HWPO, Mayhem, I don't know, maybe chuck someone else in there. If you put them all side by side, I could tell you which one belongs to which probably pretty well, because you understand the style. I really don't think you'd be able to do that with how we coach athletes, because it's not a one way, you know, it's a dynamic, evolving thing.
It's like nice the idea of like, yeah, you know, this Proven methodology, this was molded on Tia. HWPO, this is molded on Matt. And you're like, this is also molded on an athlete, but you are the athlete. Like this is molded on you.
Yeah.
So that's why it's going to be different. And that's why, you know, Jason, when we give it to you, it's going to look very different to what Harry's doing, because you are not even close to the kind of athlete he is. And that makes sense. Any other exciting things before we wrap up? Is there, you know, so we've got athlete. I mean, that was an interesting one there. So we've got that the team is making a second run for it. They need to, I've got to look up where JST finished, and then basically you need one place higher than that. We've understood that's the
goal for the year. Yeah.
You know, obviously a top 3 would be amazing, being on the podium, but if we can't get that, second goal is at least get the highest, you know, ranking of a UK team. That's what, you know, that's what you're wanting. We've heard some, you know, obviously you've got a number of athletes that we would like to see back at the games, and maybe some others that now we'd like to see at the games flying the flag. So that's interesting. Open's coming up. Any big plans for that you can reveal, or is
we semi-announced? I won't confirm everything until it's all set in. But yeah, we're hoping to second week of the Open have a little bit of a kind of like UK showcase at Blueprint. So have some other big names come down to Blueprint and have a little bit, even more than we normally do, a little bit of kind of like a showdown in Elite Heat. So that's in the plans, with some sponsors coming down and stuff. So hopefully that all goes well. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And then just the Blueprint community itself, is that do you do anything like fun to get the community more involved in the Open? Because I would imagine there are people that are like, well, I'm not going to the game. Like, I see what this Harry's doing and what that Harry's doing, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. So do I need to sign up for the Open? Have you got sort of ways you incentivize your members to get them signed up?
Previous years we've done like
go on, I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say previous years we've done like a intramural open, and we've done like teams and stuff, and that's always quite fun to try and do like a little bit of like a mini competitive environment within the gym. We definitely want members to sign up to the Open because it is obviously great for CrossFit as a whole, great for the gym, but we just really love just getting as many down that do the Open and Friday Night Lights as is, because it's just awesome for the community from that side. So you always try and get some DJs down, some photographers down, make it a little bit of like a party on our Friday Night Lights, have the elite guys go as like a first heat, always have like pizza and beer, like to finish off as a big like kind of like party, so that it's like a fun community thing, not just this super intense. Because even for these elite guys, it isn't necessarily a very important competition, right? It's not like they have to go ham on it, so they can kind of enjoy it, and it can be more of like a fun experience for everyone as opposed to this big daunting kind of like challenge.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Open is like this amazing thing. It's kind of just contextualizing it to people in the right way, because like you said, I'm not progressing to XYZ stage of the season or looking to compete or anything, but it's like, this is the only chance you get to do workouts and then measure it against a population of other kind of fit people. And I think for the kind of like general members in the gym, the community, it's like, I want everyone to try and sign up and do it, because it's like, how do we actually know you're getting fitter within this very kind of random mix thing that we do, unless we like do the fitness test, and also the amount of like insane results you get from people and the confidence boost they get and things like that, like they get their first pull up, their first muscle up, like their PR lift or whatever. Like the Open magic is real, right? And that's amazing. But even for people like yourself, like who maybe you said you were ill one year, or like training's not been as good, I still think it's really important to get that benchmark. And what I say to people every time is, I'm like, the only Open you regret is the one that you don't sign up for, because the next year you've got the consistent training, you're not ill, and you're like, I'm going to fucking smash myself from a year ago, and I'm going to nail it, So I think if people are doing CrossFit, they should be doing the Open, because it's such a good facility to just kind of see where you're at, Yeah.
Well, it's nice that we've got a good clip for social media that CrossFit will approve on, so that's always nice. And actually, I think the Open fixed me that time that I was ill as well, because it was something about going like really hard on a Friday and then having kind of almost a week to recover and then go again and do that suddenly almost
snapped
like jump started me back into fitness, back into shape. So I am excited to see what it looks like going into it not half dead, so that will be exciting. Who knows, maybe I'll be closer to Adam's score on the
I would say I'll watch you on the leaderboard. Let's go. This has been my, I'd say, least consistent year of training ever, so I'll be intrigued to see where I end up. My goal is to get as close to myself as I can each year. Try to minimize that drop off.
I mean, I'm gonna feel really bad now if I do worse than last year. Like, that's the problem that I've got.
But it shows you maybe need a little bit of adversity then,
exactly,
to rise through.
It was too easy for me. Too easy for me. No, excellent. I'm excited. It's fast approaching. We always have a lot of fun at CrossFit Bath. They've always got this stuff going on each week to kind of incentivize the members. And I don't know, it's just one of those. I've had people message me in the past, like, oh, you've not signed up for the Open yet. You've not signed up for the Open yet. It's like, don't worry, it's gonna happen. Like, it happens every year. It's not, they're not gonna run out of tickets. Like, I know I'm going to sign up.
Submission.
I normally sign up for submission. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I will. Look, if you don't see me on the leaderboard at the moment, don't worry. I will be there. I should sign up earlier because we're like Crocs and I can get quite high. It's usually going to be my highest position on the leaderboard for the whole event. But I've missed that opportunity already. Excellent. Well, Harry, all the best with I guess for you with the Open, and then with the team and everything that goes into that. Adam, in catching up to your younger self on the leaderboard and making sure that you can and also Okay, I'm excited to hear some names later, so I could look forward to that private message that Harry's going to send me, where he really tells me what he thinks of all the different coaches and programs that are out there. And I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these new AOD athletes do this year. So that's exciting. Oh, I should say when I'm back on here, in case anyone's listening, I will be back on Saturday at 2 p.m. PST or 10 p.m. in the UK. And I can't say who my guest is because it will be a live announcement of the signing for a new player for the Palm Beach Breakers. So you have to, tune in to find out who that is. Thank you guys. And I got to head down to Blueprint. I think it's like 2 hours away. It's not even that far. So I'll come and see you in person.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, welcome anytime. Let's go.
All right. Well, we all got